Hi, welcome to this video on volt-second balance concept. In this video, I'll be explaining how to find the input-output voltage relationships in any DC to DC converter. For that, we will be applying volt-second balance. In the course of this video, I'll be explaining what is the principle behind volt-second balance, and I'll explain how to use the concept of volt-second balance so that we are in a position to obtain the relationship between output voltage and input voltage. I'll be giving you or taking up two examples, and I'll be applying the concept of volt-second balance so that we are in a position to find out what is V0 by Vn or the voltage gain of the given power converter. Finally, I'll summarize the salient points that we have discussed in this video. Now, the fundamental idea behind volt-second balance is that under steady state condition, the average voltage that is dropped across the inductor will be equal to 0. Or in other words, under DC conditions, over one switching cycle, the inductor will not have any energy stored across it. This effectively means the net energy that is stored, net stored energy in the inductor over one cycle, that is more important. We are considering only one switching period, and in that switching period, the net energy that is stored, which if I indicate as EL, this will be equal to 0 in one switching time instant. Now, the significance of this equation or the net energy stored is that the inductor voltage waveform, if one draws the inductor voltage waveform, the area under that curve will be 0. Again, this is going to be in one switching cycle, which means when the switch is going to be turned on, the inductor might be storing energy, and when the switch is going to be turned off, whatever energy was stored during that on cycle, the entire energy should be transferred to some other element. That is the basic principle behind volt-second balance. If this process of storing and let's say charging and discharging keeps on happening in a periodic manner, then that would result in the net energy across the inductor being equal to 0 over one switching cycle. Or if we want to understand this more clearly, the inductor is not going to support any voltage developed across it, or it will not support any voltage induced across it over one switching cycle. Again, remember, it is going to be one switching cycle, which means one on time plus one off time put together, combined together. Because in one state, let's say on state, the inductor, there will be some induced voltage across it. The inductor might be storing some energy. In fact, it has to do one because it is an energy storage element. Therefore, the main purpose of using that inductor is to store energy. So that stored energy will be utilized for some other purposes, which means during on time, if the inductor stores energy, during off time, the inductor will transfer the same amount of stored energy, nothing more, nothing less, so that net on net, the stored energy remains 0. It doesn't support any voltage developed across it. Now, why should this happen? What is the physical significance of this? If at all there was some stored energy across the inductor during one switching cycle, and if we try to obtain, this is a very rough plot, this is mainly for our understanding. If we, let's say, take a case where the energy is stored in one cycle, and if we try to plot this over time, initially the stored energy would have been 0, therefore the energy would have risen, and then it would have fallen when the switching cycle keeps on happening. This is one switching cycle, second switching cycle. So when this happens repeatedly, the energy across the inductor keeps on increasing, and then if we try to, let's say, plot it over a longer duration of time, I'll extend this time axis so that let us see what is going to happen when we plot it over a longer duration of time this way. Then there could be a case where the energy keeps on increasing arbitrarily. And if we try to plot, or if we try to understand this, there will be a case where the saturation part sits in somewhere here, which means after some time, after lot of cycles, the inductor will saturate. That is not preferable. This is where saturation is going to sit in. This is not preferable. That is one of the main reasons why we say that the net energy stored across the inductor should be equal to 0 over one switching cycle, which means if we try to plot based on this concept, then it should look something like this. After some time, which means when the inductor or when the circuit has reached steady state condition, the stored energy across the inductor will look something like that. Initially it will increase, then dip down, then increase, then dip down, but after some switching cycles it will settle down and there won't be any net on net. The stored energy over one cycle will be 0. It will not keep on increasing arbitrarily under steady state conditions. So this is preferred. This is actually the concept behind volt second balance, preferred. This is the basic principle. Now, how do we put it in practice, or how do we apply this to a power converter circuit? In case we have any DC-DC power converter circuit, during on time, we will be in a position to write voltage across the inductor during on time. I have indicated this as VL on. This is of course for the on time. Similarly, VL off is indicated for the voltage across the inductor during off interval. We write the equation using KVL. We can easily do that. And after we do that, we know that the voltage developed across the inductor averaged over one cycle is 0. That is what we are doing here. 1 by T VL into voltage across the inductor during on time multiplied by the time duration plus voltage developed during off state multiplied by off time should be equal to 0. We equate this and then we can find the relation between input voltage and output voltage. Now this equation is again very simple. In case we have the voltage across the inductor plot, the waveform, then we simply take the average over time, 1 by time, whatever voltage waveform we have across the inductor, let's say VL of t dt, this must be equal to 0. So this equation comes from the basic equation through which we find the average voltage across the inductor. Now obviously 0 to t can be split up into 0 to t on plus integral t on to capital T, which will be t. So that is how we get this equation. And after we substitute the known values, we will be in a position to get the voltage gain equation. So that is the basis on which we obtain the voltage gain equation. Now let us take up few examples. This is the familiar buck converter, well-known circuit of a classical buck converter. Of course, in one of the videos we have come across how to arrange the elements and how do we end up with a buck converter. Now in this buck converter, when we turn on the switch, the equivalent circuit is going to be looking like this, wherein the diode which is indicated as light gray is going to be off, switch will be conducting, turned on. Therefore, there will be current that is going to be flowing through the inductor in the direction in which I have marked. So the voltage that is going to be developed across the inductor is indicated like this. I will mark this. I have marked the polarity. I will indicate the voltage that is developed as VL. Now this equivalent circuit is going to be prevailing for the turn on interval during T on. Now when we try to apply KVL over this outer loop or bigger loop, we can get an expression for VL during on. That will be VL during on duration, or voltage developed across the inductor during on duration will be V in minus VL during on minus V naught equal to 0. If I rearrange, I'll get VL during on time being equal to V in minus V naught. I'll name this equation as number 1. This is applicable during T on, for T on duration. Similarly, when I look at the equivalent circuit during turn off state, switch is going to be open. Again, light gray indicates open. No current will flow through that path. Whereas the diode will be put into conduction. Therefore, IL will start flowing through the load, through the capacitor, and then it will freewheel through the diode. Voltage across the inductor, actually for operating purposes, it has to change its polarity. Only then, due to electrical inertia, the current can be maintained in the same direction. But for taking, or rather applying Volt-second balance, I will retain voltage across the inductor, because if I reverse the voltage and reverse the current direction or take care of the concept, then that will be reversing twice. I am not doing that. So just take voltage across the inductor or retain the polarity of VL. Now again I apply KVL. I will now find that voltage across the inductor during off state will be equal to minus VL minus V naught equal to 0. I transfer VL to the VL during off, of course, to the other side. I will get VL during off as minus V naught. This is the second equation. This is of course for the off duration, and this equivalent circuit obviously is valid during the turn off interval. Now we have the two basic equations which are required. We will apply Volt-second balance concept. Principle says that average of voltage across the inductor over one cycle, which is VL on into T on plus VL off into T off equal to 0. This is the basic idea behind Volt-second balance. I substitute VL on and then VL off. Let me see what I get. 1 by T into VL on is given by V in minus V naught into on time plus VL off is actually minus V naught, so I'll directly write it as minus V naught into T off equal to 0. Now if I take T inside, I'll have T on by T and T off by T. I'll define duty ratio as duty ratio or duty cycle D, capital D, as on time by total time, which will simplify this equation as V in minus V naught into duty ratio plus rather minus V naught into 1 minus duty ratio equal to 0. Now I rearrange this. I'll have V in into D minus V naught into D minus V naught plus V naught into D, that will get cancelled. So I will have V in into D on one side and minus V naught into D. If I transfer to the other side, I will get V naught by V in, which is the voltage gain. This will be equal to duty ratio D upon simplifying. So this gives the voltage gain of a buck converter. Voltage gain expression. Of course, this is for a buck converter. That is a circuit which we have considered over here. So this is the buck converter. Fine. This is the basic idea behind applying the concept of volt a second. Initially, we find out what is voltage across inductor during on time, and then we find out voltage across inductor during off time. Substitute, we will get what is V naught by VN. Incidentally, as an additional information, in the lecture that was discussing the development of a buck converter, I was mentioning that the output voltage can be varied by varying the on duration and total duration. That is what we observe over here. V naught by Vn is given by duty ratio. Duty ratio is in turn written as on time by total time. Therefore, a slight look into the duty ratio tells us that V naught can be varied in two ways. One is by having variable on time. We vary this numerator, which is variable on time, which implicitly means that time period is going to be fixed or frequency is going to be fixed. Therefore, only the pulse width is going to be varied. Therefore, this method is going to be pulse width modulation, PWM technique. The other method will be to fix the numerator to vary the time period, which means frequency is going to be varied. Therefore, that is going to give us frequency modulation. I have just indicated capital T to be varied. That implicitly means that frequency is varied. Therefore, this means frequency modulation. So, these are methods of control. Controlling the output voltage. Two methods, two very simple methods by which we obtain variable output voltage from a buck converter. Of course, this is an additional information. Fine. So, previous example, we took a circuit and then we applied KVL, then we applied volt second balance, we were able to get V naught by Vn expression. Whereas if we have this example, whatever is observed in this image, we have the voltage across the inductor as a waveform. That waveform is given for on time and off time, and then the waveform is periodic in nature, therefore it repeats. When we have such a waveform, again we can use the basic principle. We know that the concept is 1 by total time, VL on multiplied by T on. VL on is actually equal to input, that is what is specified here. So I will directly have V in into on time plus the voltage across the inductor. Voltage across the inductor during off duration is V in minus V naught multiplied by off duration equal to 0. This is the basic concept. That's all. Again, we can take T inside and then we can simplify. If we do that, we will get V in into T on by T is now well known to be the duty ratio D plus V in minus V naught into T off by T will be 1 minus D. D is duty ratio in this case also, where I will indicate it here, though it is well known, I will indicate it for additional clarity. D is duty cycle, which is again given by on time by total time. So if I simplify this, I will have V in into D plus V in, open out this bracket, I will have minus V in into D minus V naught plus V naught into D equal to 0. So these two terms get cancelled. I can now rearrange this and I can get the expression for voltage gain as V naught by V in being equal to 1 by 1 minus D. This expression is again a well known one. V naught by V in equal to 1 by 1 minus D represents a classical boost converter. This corresponds to the voltage gain of a classical boost converter. I will write this. Boost converter. So, we have now come across a case where we were given the waveform for voltage across the inductor, and then we applied again the same principle. We ended up with the expression for voltage gain. Of course, for this, we are in a position to find out the type of the power converter as well. This is the way we apply the concept of volt-second balance for finding the expressions for voltage gain. I will discuss a few more interesting facts about boost converter in the subsequent video. Now, to summarize, the idea behind Volts-Second balance is that the net energy that is stored in the inductor should be zero. Only then the inductor will operate in a satisfactory manner. It can store energy, but then over one cycle, if you average or if you take the average over one cycle, there should not be any net energy that is stored in the inductor. So in a power circuit, it can only transfer or help in transferring power, help in transferring energy. Therefore, intermediate duration, on duration, it can store energy, no problem, it has to. But when the off interval comes, sets in, the same amount of stored energy must be transferred to the rest of the circuitry. Only then the power circuit will operate in a satisfactory manner. That is the basic essence of Volts-Second balance principle. Then, under equilibrium condition, when we apply Volt-Second balance, the voltage gain expression can be obtained. Of course, the voltage gain expression we had seen for a buck converter and a boost converter. Nevertheless, for any type of DC to DC converter, for all DC to DC converters, it could be a novel one, new one, we can apply Volts-Second balance. All that one has to do is find out energy stored in the inductor during on duration. Same. In a similar way, finding out the voltage will help. So, voltage developed across the inductor during on time, voltage developed across the inductor during off time, that is what is required. If the power circuit involves more than one inductor, same principle should be applied for all the inductors. That would mean, let's say if a circuit has 3 inductors, for all those 3 inductors, we need to find out voltage across inductor L1 during on time, voltage across L1 during off time, similarly for L2, similarly for L3. We will be having, let's say, 6 equations with this for 3 inductors, and then we may have to rearrange in order to get the expression for output voltage by input voltage. So that is the way we apply Volts-Second balance. It can be applied for any DC to DC converter. On that note, I wind up this video. Please do pass on your comments. You can write your comments in the comment dialog box. You can pass on your queries also, ask any clarifications if they are required. I have given you my mail ID also for additional clarity. In case you want to clarify something, feel free to drop a mail. Thanks for watching.